He's known as the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. For many years, he was the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and before Michael Jordan won his 6 championships, most people considered Kareem as the greatest player in basketball history. To this day, some still do. Heading into the 1988-89 NBA season, Kareem was 41 years old. He was a 6-time league MVP, a 6-time NBA champion, and a 2-time finals MVP. Alongside of Magic Johnson and James Worthy, Kareem and the Lakers were looking for their 3rd straight title. It was an extra emotional time in Los Angeles though, because Kareem had announced that this would be his last season in the NBA long before the regular season had concluded. With this in mind, the Lakers were motivated to win the championship yet again for their star center, sending him out on a high note and delivering a storybook ending. But now we fast forward in time. In June of 1989, the NBA Finals were about to take place between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Detroit Pistons. At first glance, it seemed like a colossal battle between 2 dynastic teams, but to understand the shocking results of this series, context is needed. The Detroit Pistons were a strong team who had finished the regular season with a 63-19 record. The team was rich in talent with veterans like Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, Mark Aguirre, Dennis Rodman, and Vinnie Johnson. They had an all-time great defense and one of the deepest rosters the NBA had ever seen. All of this team was incredibly talented and appeared on paper as if they were championship ready, but the Pistons were yet to prove it in the postseason, and many were skeptical about their abilities to dethrone the defending champions. Just 1 year earlier, the same 2 teams met in the 1988 NBA Finals, and after a long, hard-fought 7-game series, the Lakers had come out on top, like they had many times throughout the 1980s. The Los Angeles Lakers were heading into the '89 Finals as the defending back-to-back NBA champions, who were seeking the NBA's first three-peat since the 1960s. All of the momentum was clearly on the Lakers' side. The 1987 and 1988 Los Angeles Lakers are still recognized even to this day among the greatest teams in NBA history. The Lakers had begun the decade with a championship and were looking to finish off the decade with their 3rd straight championship and 6th championship in the 80s. They seemed poised to do it too. Magic Johnson was arguably the NBA's best player at the time and led the Lakers to have the best offense in the NBA that season, while securing the League MVP award. He was accompanied by his usual Hall of Fame supporting cast, like James Worthy, who was in the prime of his career and was coming off of last year's Finals MVP award. And of course, he also had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that would be retiring at the end of the season. So the still productive captain of the Los Angeles Lakers was anticipating a fairy tale ending for his career, securing a legendary 7th NBA championship ring as he rode off into the sunset. The story of the season appeared to be indicating that destiny was in fact on the Lakers' side. Not only was the narrative supporting the Lakers, but so was the eye test. The Lakers were an absolute juggernaut throughout the 1989 Western Conference playoffs. The Lakers began the first round of the playoffs by sweeping the talented Portland Trail Blazers 3-0. The second round, they swept an even better Sonics team 4-0. And then they destroyed the powerful 55-win Phoenix Suns in the conference finals 4-0. The Lakers were undefeated throughout the Western Conference playoffs. They were heading into the NBA Finals against the Detroit Pistons, looking to make history and become the only team ever to go undefeated in the NBA playoffs. As a quick recap, the Lakers were going for their 3rd straight title against the team they had just beat the previous year, looking for the exclamation point of a 6th championship in a decade that they had already claimed as their own, led by the league MVP on the final year of arguably the greatest player of all time, with a chance to declare themselves as the greatest team of all time by finishing out an undefeated postseason run, which had never been done before in the history of the NBA. Both of these finals teams were incredibly talented and championship worthy, so a sweep wasn't necessarily expected, but it was presumed that if a sweep was going to happen, it was going to be the Lakers who were doing the sweeping. But as we like to say in the sports world, that's why they play the game. As a footnote, the Los Angeles Lakers shooting guard Byron Scott would be missing the series for his team after popping his hamstring in practice the day before the finals began. With that being said, Michael Cooper was replacing him in the starting lineup. Cooper was a former Defensive Player of the Year and a quality three-point shooter in the NBA during his era, so the Lakers still appeared to be in great shape. When the games began, the Pistons got off to a hot start and never relinquished it. The absence of Byron Scott was beginning to be felt in this series. With Scott unavailable, the Lakers' rotation suffered, and defending all of the Detroit Pistons' perimeter scoring guards became even more difficult. The Pistons took the first game 109-97, leaving the Lakers' hopes of an undefeated postseason run in shambles. The Lakers were poised to bounce back in Game 2. Despite Joe Dumars taking advantage of the Lakers being short-handed on guards and dropping 24 points in the first half alone, the Lakers still managed to have a 62-56 lead at halftime. If the Lakers could hold on, they would be tying the series at a game apiece, while taking home court advantage with the series heading back to Los Angeles. But that's when disaster struck. With only several minutes left in the third quarter, the Lakers were up by a bucket, and Detroit was on a fast break when Magic Johnson started hobbling. He had pulled his hamstring, and the pain was clearly seen on his face. Magic wanted to push through it, but eventually he had no choice but to sit out the rest of the game. With their MVP gone, the Lakers fought valiantly, but ultimately came up short, falling to the Pistons 108-105. With Game 3 being played back in Los Angeles, the Lakers found themselves in a must-win situation. With the season on the line, Magic Johnson started Game 3, but he wouldn't last very long. After just 5 minutes of play, Magic left the game with severe pain in his hamstring. The still talented Lakers stepped up to the challenge and tried to win at home without their best player. But despite James Worthy's 26 points and Kareem's vintage effort of 24 points and 13 rebounds, the Pistons' healthy talent still prevailed in a close one, 114-110. At this point, the writing was on the wall for the Lakers. Magic Johnson didn't even try to play in the fourth game of the NBA Finals. James Worthy was one superstar who wasn't going out without a fight, and dropped an efficient 40 points in Game 4. Despite the Lakers' good start to the game, the Pistons' overall healthy talent eventually wore them down, winning the fourth and final game of the series, completing what is now known as one of the most stunning sweeps in NBA history. Kareem closed out his final game at the age of 42, while his iconic co-star was forced to watch from the sidelines. In that last performance, Kareem finished with just 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists on 2 of 8 shooting. Ultimately, it's not the worst way for a legend to end his career, but considering how things deteriorated in the NBA Finals and how the Lakers won the championship just a year prior, Kareem went down as another example of a player calling it quits just a little later than what would have been ideal. So what do you guys think? What is the most brutal ending to an NBA star's career? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.